Before Light Falls. A story by Stephen Creeks. Read for free at stephencreeks.com.
Chapter 2. The jeep sped along, headlights slicing through the yellow dust. No one spoke. Through the windows we could see the horizon glowing red, the fire devouring the night, a sky without stars. Any sane person would have fled, but we were charging straight into the maw of a monster made of fire and ash. Ash flakes slapped the windshield, melting instantly into oily streaks the wipers chased away. The engine screamed. Every bump threw us against each other, as if the road itself wanted to push us back. I could feel the sweat sticking my shirt to my skin under my field jacket, mixed with the smell of hot leather and gasoline. The two guys on either side of me reeked. The one on the left had breath like cold coffee and tobacco. The one on the right gave off the sweet scent of cheap deodorant, trying unsuccessfully to mask the fear. A guy I didn't know was driving the jeep, a big fellow built like a rock, hands gripping the steering wheel. Next to him, Colonel Morris stared at the road, jaw clenched. Not a word, not a glance. The man was a statue of discipline and silence. After a while, the soldier to my left finally cracked.
Colonel, what was that explosion?
Silence. A real one. The kind that makes you regret opening your mouth.
You think it's the Russians? We saw a damn mushroom cloud, for Christ's sake. That was nuclear, wasn't it?
Morris slowly turned his head toward him. If looks could kill, Wheeler would have dropped right there.
Who are you?
Corporal Wheeler, at your orders, Colonel.
Corporal Wheeler. Did I ask you to open your goddamn mouth? Then quit flapping your gums.
No one flinched. Like I always said, on a base, knowing how to keep your trap shut is a precious quality. The heat rose as we got closer to the blaze. 3 fire trucks passed us, sirens wailing, spinning lights tearing through the night. We split at a fork. They went left, we went right. A little further on, the road opened onto a gutted clearing, and there, amidst the torn-up trunks, sat a dark, triangular mass, resting at an angle. It looked like it had torn through the forest like a sheet, a black gash in the landscape. Colonel Morris gave a brief signal. The driver braked immediately. Behind us, the rest of the convoy came to a halt with a screech of tires. The headlights of the jeeps cut the dust into pale beams. We got out of the vehicle. The air vibrated, saturated with ozone and smoke. Every breath tasted of hot metal. The men instinctively lined up in a semicircle around the colonel. Morris stood motionless for a few seconds, his gaze fixed on the triangular mass between the trees. Then he turned to us.
At 2300 hours, 2 unidentified aircraft entered our airspace at high altitude. No radar signature, only visual observation allowed us to spot them. No response to our hails. We initiated protocol. We didn't have to fire. The first craft disintegrated over Site A.
He pointed to the shape behind him.
The second attempted an emergency landing here on Site B. Unlike the other one, this one is practically intact, and to my knowledge, it does not correspond to any known USAF model. We still don't know where it comes from. Maybe the Soviets, or maybe somewhere else.
A heavy silence fell. No one dared to ask a question. The only sound was the crackling of the blaze and the nervous tick, tick of a Geiger counter in the back of a jeep. I looked at the craft. Even from here, you could guess its size, immense. A shape I had never seen. No wings, no cockpit. Just a dark, triangular surface, almost flat, like a single block of metal torn from the sky. A soldier near me whispered, his voice pale.
Damn. If the Reds can build something like that, we're screwed.
I was on the same wavelength. A lead like that, we'd never catch up. Under the glare of the searchlights, the hull seemed to absorb the brightness instead of reflecting it. Not a glint, not a seam, nothing. A ghost plane, No radar signature. The air was still vibrating all around. I could feel a tremor under my feet, as if the ground were breathing. Behind us, the Geiger counter crackled on the back seat. A mechanical insect sound, nagging. Morris came back to us after exchanging a few words with two officers who ran off.
As you can hear, the zone is radioactive. I'm reminding you of the protocol. Perimeter secured at 100 yards. Approach team equipped in NBC gear. No one moves forward without a direct order. No one touches anything. Is that clear?
The men nodded. Already, a small group was busy near the jeeps, opening metal crates. Grey suits came out with a dry rustle, followed by masks and heavy rubber boots. The searchlights cast a white, almost surgical light on them. I recognized Peterson among them. Hard to miss him. He stood a good head taller than everyone else. He adjusted his mask, hands trembling, then looked up and spotted me. A hand signal, which ended in a raised fist, as if to salute a victory in advance. I answered him with a simple chin lift. I caught myself thinking he was lucky. He at least was going to see the machine up close. He was in his element, exactly where he liked to be. In the field, ready to kick some red ass, as he used to say.
Any questions?
Of course we had them, but voicing them in front of Iceman Morris terrified us all. Still, a hand went up, maybe that of a guy a little braver, or just a little stupider.
Colonel, why is it snowing?
Morris didn't answer right away. He looked down at his combat boots, then turned his head slightly away. When he finally spoke, his voice had lost a tone.
We don't know, soldier. The fire from the second craft caused a massive leak of radioactive material into the atmosphere. It is highly probable that we are all contaminated. I ask one thing of you. We are soldiers of the United States of America, so let's stay focused on our mission.
Peterson walked past me, visor held at arm's length.
Did they cancel your leave, buddy? Don't cry. This time, God chose me.
Watch your back, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get 'em, those Russians.
He flipped down his visor and joined 4 other guys I knew by sight. The counters crackled without stopping. A technician screamed.
We're already at 50 Roentgens. And climbing.
Morris answered without raising his voice.
Everyone stay back. We cover the team.
A first group moved forward, Peterson in the lead, rifle slung, moving like he owned the place. They walked slowly, in procession. The lamps attached to their helmets cut halos in the mist. I followed them with my eyes. Their shadows twisted on the vitrified ground.
30 yards.
Proceed.
Then, without warning, the ground vibrated. A low hum rose from the crater, a sound halfway between thunder and metal being crumpled with bare hands. And the counters began to crackle even louder.
Fall back! But it was too late. The ground heaved. An invisible wave swept across the plain. The men were thrown backward like puppets. Peterson, the first one, ripped from the ground, landed several yards away. I saw his body catch fire mid-air, a human torch, silent, consuming itself without a sound. I wanted to run, but the air burned my lungs. The heat slapped me, tore the breath from me. The sky tore open all at once, a sharp crack, then nothing. Calm returned, heavy, oppressive. Just the crackling of flames and the Geigers slowly dying out. My hands were covered in ash. I don't even know what I thought in that moment. Certainly a mix of fear, anger, incomprehension. Or rather, the void. That void, I had already lived it in Korea, when a buddy stepped on a mine and there was nothing left. The kind of memory I had fled by coming back to Henderson, and which had just caught up with me. And I had only one name pulsing in my skull, a name I whispered before screaming.
Peterson!
There was nothing left of him. The world buzzed around me, a sharp ringing drilling into my ears. I looked around. Chaos, nothing else. I was lost, haggard, unable to comprehend what my eyes were still seeing. I stumbled, and that's when a hand landed on my shoulder. I looked up. Morris. His face was blackened with soot. His eyes, however, were intact, 2 shards of steel planted in mine.
Sergeant, there is a time for everything, a time to mourn our comrades, and a time to tend to the living. Go help the wounded, soldier.
His voice was calm, not soft, calm, a calm that cut clean through the panic. His words went through me like a whip crack. I felt my breathing return, my thoughts falling back into place, one by one. The world took shape around me again. I turned my head toward the zone where Peterson's team had gone in. Nothing, just black, broken shapes, pieces of uniforms still smoking, and those helmet lamps on the ground, fizzling out like dying insects. There were no survivors. Closer to us, some had been blown back by the blast. They lay in the dust, faces covered in soot, eyes wide open. Some were still moving, slow, uncoordinated movements, as if their bodies were trying to understand what was happening to them. The air smelled of molten metal and burnt flesh. I forced myself to breathe slowly, once, twice. And despite myself, something shifted. I wasn't in the Nevada forest anymore. I was back in Korea. The automatisms took over, cold, mechanical, as if someone else had taken control. Triage the wounded. Priorities: red, yellow, black. Check airways. Turn over those who were choking. Compress wounds with whatever I could find in the emergency medical kit. Just the motions, one after the other, again and again.
Grant, we're here!
I looked up. Sergeant Smith and Doc Daniels had just arrived, doors slamming, already geared up. Behind them, the infirmary truck was still vibrating, shaken from crossing the ash at full speed. The cavalry. With them, and what they carried in that damn truck, we could set up a field hospital in 5 minutes. Improvised, rickety, but enough to save lives. In a war zone, that was all we asked for. Daniels stopped dead when he saw the scene. His gaze slid from the wounded to the crater, then to the craft, lying there like a dead beast fallen from another world.
Damn! What happened here?
He pointed at the machine with an incredulous gesture.
And that? What is that thing?
I couldn't find an answer. What could I have said anyway? My brain had checked out, voluntarily, a survival reflex I knew well. I held on to one thing only, the order Morris had given me. Tend to the living, nothing else. Suddenly, the earth shook again. Not like before, no, a final jolt, heavier, deeper. It was coming from the craft. A growl rose up, raspy, mechanical, almost animal, as if something inside was rattling, still struggling against death. The ground vibrated under our soles, a dry shiver running up to the sternum. The machine slumped all at once, in a long metallic exhalation. The fuselage twisted, bent in on itself, the image of a wounded animal folding its wings to die. Then everything settled. Silence. Not another tremor, as if the thing had, finally, drawn its last breath. The men around me looked up, instinctively. Morris didn't flinch, but I saw something change in his eyes, a tiny shift, a resolution forming. He stepped forward, a crisp stride crushing the dust.
Grant, you served in Korea, right?
The question caught me off guard. In the middle of chaos, it sounded almost out of place.
Yes, Colonel.
And you holding up?
Trying to, Colonel.
He nodded slowly, without letting go of my eyes. His pupils were pure steel, evaluating a chain link, looking for the weak spot, or confirming there wasn't one.
I need you, Sergeant. But I need to know if you're going to bail on me in the middle of the field. You follow.
The sentence went through me like a cold blade. I felt my shoulders straighten on their own.
You can count on me, Colonel.
Morris turned his head toward the fuselage, arms crossed. A short breath that wasn't quite a sigh.
I want to go back in.
But the force field, or whatever.
Exactly. I could be wrong, but I think what we just felt was maybe its deactivation. Look, not a vibration. Even the Geigers have gone quiet. Since we set foot here, it was rumbling continuously.
He was right. The ground wasn't vibrating anymore. Dead. Frozen.
We go, but gently.
He signaled 2 men to join us. We headed for the jeep. Morris climbed in halfway, just enough to release the handbrake and shift the gearbox to neutral.
Come on, we push. Not too fast.
We put our shoulders to it, boots crunching in the dry ash. The jeep moved forward with a metallic creak, inch by inch. We progressed like guys testing the strength of a frozen lake. A step, then another. Breath held.
A little more. Keep going.
Behind us, the searchlights cut the triangular machine out of the night, colossal, motionless, like a monolith fallen from the sky. A little further. Another yard. The ground still wasn't vibrating. Then the jeep reached the zone where Peterson's group had been thrown back. No shock. No blast. Nothing. We stopped, incredulous.
Move forward.
So we pushed again, until the immense shadow of the aircraft swallowed us, until we felt, above our skulls, the impossible weight of its mass. We were right under the fuselage, and Morris had guessed right. No more barrier, no force field. The craft was there, immense, silent, as if dead. I had never seen a plane of this kind. None of us had. We moved forward along the hull, weapons raised. The 2 soldiers accompanying us held their rifles against their shoulders, ready to fire at the slightest movement. Then, under the fuselage, we made out something, a pattern, a shape painted or engraved into the metal.
Grant, do you see what I see?
I looked up. The shape Morris was showing me was a flag, and that flag, I knew it. It wasn't a symbol from elsewhere. It wasn't the emblem of a foreign power. It wasn't even the USSR's. I felt my throat tighten. This flag was embroidered on my own sleeve. The flag of the United States of America.